Hey, y'all. So I owe y'all an apology. So, first, a couple of episodes ago, I mentioned that the Inner Strength Journal ebook was available and that I would make an official announcement here on the podcast that it was available. But then I realized I don't think I ever made an official announcement on the podcast when the paperback version of the Inner Strength Journal came out. What is that? Anyway, this episode is the official announcement of the Inner Strength Journal, in parentheses, ebook. And I'm excited about this one because this is something you've never heard what you are about to hear on this podcast before. So if you've been listening, you know that I created the Inner Strength Journal to be a guide, a resource, kind of a pocket coaching tool to help you do exactly what it says it does. Help you discover your authenticity, really figure out who you really are, and have the courage to become her. That's why I created the journal. It is a space to help you reconnect with yourself, to process what's happening around you, to create your own receipts so you can remember and remind yourself that even when you are in tough seasons, you still have power, you still have wisdom, and you still have clarity in you. And so with the ebook version, it just makes it even easier for this resource to go with you wherever you go. You can take it wherever you go. The paperback version is an appropriate size that you can fit it in your bag. But if you are concerned about sustainability and reducing your carbon footprint, then the digital version is for you. And so, what I decided to do was something a little different to introduce to some, reintroduce to others the Inner Strength Journal and me and my approach to confidence coaching, the brand, all of that. So, after the intros for the podcast, you are going to hear two voices that you have never heard on this podcast before. Don't turn it off, just listen, and I'll meet you back on the other side of their conversation. Hey, y'all. Welcome to Confident Women Glow. I'm Mo James, and this is the podcast where we dive into self-discovery, self-trust, and self-expression to help you create a life that's true to who you really are. I believe that confidence isn't just a mindset. It's a practice. It's about showing up boldly even when life feels messy and owning your journey every step of the way. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get into this episode.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And this time, we're tackling something that might seem really simple on the surface,
Right.
but I think we're going to find out it's actually packed with a ton of potential, and that is journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know that some of you out there listening might be thinking like, yeah, journaling, I've tried, it didn't really work for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you're intrigued by the idea of journaling, but you're a little intimidated by that blank page.
Right.
And that's exactly why we're diving into the Inner Strength Journal by Monique James,
Yes.
or Mo, as she likes to be called.
Yes. She goes by Mo.
So to get us started, can you tell everybody a little bit about Mo and her approach to journaling?
Absolutely. Well, what I find really interesting about Mo's approach is that it's specifically designed to help you discover your inner strength and live more authentically. And she does this through a really unique structure that goes way beyond just, jotting down whatever random thoughts pop into your head.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about this structure. Like, what makes it different from just a regular journal?
So for starters, the Inner Strength Journal is full of guided prompts. But these aren't just generic prompts you'd find in any old journal. Mo has carefully crafted these prompts to guide you on a journey of self-discovery. And she even encourages things like drawing and doodling to help you connect with your thoughts and feelings in different ways.
Oh, wow. So it's almost like the journal itself is a coach gently nudging you in the right direction.
Right. Exactly.
That's really cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But I think it's also really important to address the elephant in the room here.
Yeah.
A lot of people, myself included, had tried journaling before, and we've kind of felt like it didn't really do anything for us.
Right.
So how does Mo convince us that this time will be different?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Mo actually addresses this head on. She's very open about the fact that she used to feel lost and unsure of her own path. And it was through journaling that she actually discovered her own inner strength and started designing a life that felt truly authentic.
Hmm.
So she's speaking from experience here, not just theory.
So seeing here, she talks about this like roadmap to self-realization. Is that basically what makes this journal so powerful? Because I'll be honest, when I hear that phrase roadmap to self-realization, it sounds a bit well vague to me.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I think what Mo means by roadmap is that the journal helps you kind of map out your values, identify your goals and create a plan to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. It's about becoming the architect of your own life, using the journal as your blueprint.
Ah, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
So walk us through some of the prompts that make up this roadmap. What are some of the ones that really stand out to you? Well, that's a really good one.
Oh, there are so many great ones. But one that I think is particularly powerful is, what does authenticity mean to you? And this might seem simple, but it's actually really profound because it forces you to define this often used term, authenticity for yourself based on your own values and experiences rather than just accepting someone else's definition.
I love that it's about taking ownership of your own definition of authenticity,
Exactly. Yeah.
not just going with what the dictionary says or what somebody else tells you.
Yeah. And another great one is, who are you when you know nobody is watching? This helps you kind of peel back all those layers we put on for other people and get to the core of who you truly are, free from any judgment or expectations.
Oh man, that one definitely takes me back to my awkward teenage years trying to figure out like, who am I outside of, the pressures of school and social circles and all of that.
We all go through that, right? But it's a process that continues throughout our lives. We're constantly evolving and discovering new aspects of ourselves.
And speaking of those layers that we kind of put on for other people, Mo also talks about the masks that we wear in different social situations.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. Mo believes that, societal pressures often lead us to hide parts of ourselves that we fear might be judged or rejected. And so we put on these masks to fit in or please others or avoid conflict.
It's like we're trying to be chameleons, just blending into every environment.
Exactly. And while these masks might provide some temporary comfort, they ultimately prevent us from forming truly meaningful connections. They create this barrier between our true selves and the world around us.
Yeah, and I think,
Hmm.
that kind of gets at the heart of what Mo's trying to do with this journal is to help us recognize those masks and then figure out how to take them off.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how does the journal actually help us do that?
Well, Mo includes prompts that specifically address this, like, what masks do you wear? How can you gently remove them and start sharing your true self with someone you trust? It's about recognizing those masks, understanding why we wear them, and then, finding the courage to slowly let them go.
And I imagine that can be a really scary process, right? Because
It can be, definitely.
we've gotten so used to wearing those masks and they've kind of become a part of who we think we are.
Right. And it's about being vulnerable, which can be scary, but also incredibly free.
So it sounds like this journal is really about more than just writing. It's about, taking those insights that we gain through the writing and then applying them to our lives and actually making changes.
Absolutely. It's about transformation, not just introspection.
So how does Mo help us bridge that gap between what we write in the journal and how we actually live our lives?
Well, one of the things she emphasizes is the power of affirmations. And
Affirmations, you mean those positive statements you repeat to yourself.
exactly. And before you dismiss them as cheesy or too simplistic, let me explain why they're so effective.
Yeah.
Affirmations actually work on a psychological level by helping to rewire our subconscious beliefs. You see, our thoughts create our reality. If we're constantly feeding ourselves negative thoughts and beliefs, those will manifest in our lives. But if we consciously choose to focus on positive affirmations, we can start to shift those deeply ingrained patterns. It's like replacing a worn-out record with a brand new one.
So it's not just about wishful thinking. It's about actually changing the way we think about ourselves and the world around us.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
I'm curious, does Mo include specific affirmations in the journal?
She does, and they're not just generic feel-good statements. They're carefully crafted to align with the overall theme of inner strength and authenticity. One that really resonated with me was, I am designing my life, constructing a masterpiece woven with authenticity and boldness.
I love the imagery of that. It's like we're all artists and our lives are the canvases.
Exactly. And the journal helps us become more mindful of the brushstrokes we're using, making sure they reflect our true vision.
Now, for someone who might be new to this whole journaling thing, or maybe they've tried it in the past and felt like it hasn't worked for them, does Mo recommend any like specific tips or strategies to get the most out of the inner strength journal?
Yeah, one of the things she emphasizes is consistency. It's better to journal for a few minutes each day than to try to cram a whole week's worth of thoughts and feelings into one sitting.
So it's about creating a daily ritual, even if it's just for a short time.
Exactly. She also encourages people to find a time and place where they feel most comfortable and relaxed. Some people prefer to journal first thing in the morning, while others find it more beneficial to write before bed. The key is to experiment and find what works best for you.
And what about those of us who are, shall we say, less than enthusiastic about writing? Does Mo address that at all?
Absolutely. Remember, the Inner Strength Journal isn't just about writing. She encourages people to express themselves in whatever way feels most authentic to them, whether that's through drawing, doodling, or even just jotting down a few keywords or phrases. The important thing is to engage with the prompts and allow yourself to explore your inner landscape.
So there's really no right or wrong way to do it. It's all about finding what resonates with you.
Exactly. And Mo also reminds us that this journal is a safe space for exploration and self-discovery. No one else needs to see it. It's your private sanctuary where you can be completely honest with yourself without fear of judgment.
That's so important, especially for those of us who might be hesitant to put our deepest thoughts and feelings down on paper.
Yeah, and even if you've tried journaling before and felt like it didn't work, I encourage you to give the Inner Strength Journal a try. What sets Mo's approach apart is that it's not just about venting or processing emotions, it's about using those insights to create lasting change in your life.
So I'm curious, how does she actually help people translate those insights into action?
Hmm.
Because it's one thing to have a profound realization while you're journaling, but it's another thing entirely to actually implement it in your daily life.
You're absolutely right. And this is where Mo's expertise as a confidence coach really shines. She understands that true transformation requires more than just awareness, it requires action.
So how does she bridge that gap?
Well, one way is by encouraging you to connect your insights to your values.
Can you give us an example?
Sure, let's say you identify a fear of judgment as something that's holding you back from pursuing your dreams. Mo would then guide you to explore your values and consider how living in alignment with those values might require you to step outside of your comfort zone and face that fear.
So it's about finding the courage to act in ways that are consistent with your true self, even if it's scary.
Exactly. And she also provides practical tips for setting goals and taking small, achievable steps towards those goals.
So it's not about making drastic overnight changes. It's about creating sustainable habits that will lead to long-term growth.
Precisely. And one of the prompts that really speaks to this is list 3 new ways you can embrace authenticity in your everyday life. It's about taking those insights you've gained through journaling and putting them into practice.
It sounds like the Inner Strength Journal really does provide a practical framework for taking action and making real changes. But I think it's also important to acknowledge that self-discovery isn't a destination, it's a journey, right?
Absolutely. This journal isn't a quick fix or a one-time solution. It's a tool to support you on an ongoing journey of self-exploration and growth. And even when you finish the journal, the insights you've gained and the habits you've developed will continue to impact your life in positive ways.
So it's about equipping yourself with the tools and strategies to navigate the ups and downs of life with greater self-awareness and resilience.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes Mo's approach so empowering. It's not about striving for some unattainable ideal of perfection, but rather about embracing our imperfections and finding strength in our vulnerabilities.
I love that. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Inner Strength Journal, what's the one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I'd say this: if you're looking for a way to connect with your authentic self, cultivate inner strength, and create a life that truly reflects your values, then the Inner Strength Journal is an excellent place to start. It's a guided journey of self-discovery that can help you unlock your full potential and live with greater purpose and intention.
And remember, whether you're a seasoned journaler or a complete newbie, this journal offers a structured yet flexible approach that can be adapted to your individual needs and preferences.
Exactly. The most important thing is to approach it with an open mind and a willingness to explore your inner landscape.
So for all of you listening out there, we encourage you to give the Inner Strength Journal a try. You might just be surprised by what you discover about yourself and the incredible strength that lies within. Until next time, keep diving deep.
Bye, everybody.
Girl, it is officially official. I am excited. If you could see the grin on my face right now, I mean, I'm just excited. I keep using the same word, excited. That's how I feel. I'm not going to apologize for that. Listen, building confidence, trust yourself, designing your masterpiece life is not about waiting for things to get easier. It just isn't. If we waited until things got easier, we wouldn't get out of bed in the morning. I want us to learn how to show up for ourselves all the time, and especially when things feel like they feel right now. And that is what the Inner Strength Journal is here to help you do. I hope you'll grab your copy. I hope you'll share this episode with somebody you care about. You know what? I hope this episode came to you at the time that you needed to be reminded of your own strength and to be made aware of a resource that can help you tap back in. So thank y'all for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay. Thanks for sticking with me to the end of this episode. I hope you are feeling inspired and ready to take the next step toward your masterpiece life. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you left a rating or review in your podcast player. It helps more women like you find the show. And if you're ready for deeper conversations and support, come join us in the Glow Circle membership community. Your first 7 days are free, and we would love to have you. Thank you for being a part of this amazing community. Until next time, keep glowing. Later.